Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 7 of Fueling Tomorrow. I'm your host, Erin Bailey, and today I am joined by none other than Anita Gamertsfelder with the Midland Education Foundation. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you, Erin. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
We are so excited to talk about all things Midland Education Foundation. So we're going to start by telling us what that is.
So the Midland Education Foundation is the 501c3 public charity that solely supports MISD teachers and students. Our mission is to promote excellence in education by generating additional resources for MISD staff and students. And we do that through our board of directors, fundraising efforts, we write grants, and we have direct donations, a lot of foundations and corporate donations that come to us to support the work that we do. The foundation is governed by a 19-member board of directors. They are representatives from all across Midland. A lot of them are parents, but you don't have to be a parent. We try to have a good representation of the purple and the maroon side of town. And we're bringing in the blue side of town for YWLA and red for Coleman and green for Early College High School. So all voices of all of our students and teachers are heard. The superintendent of schools, Dr. Stephanie Howard, sits on our board of directors, as well as Mrs. Sarah Burleson, the MISD school board trustee representative. So our board works hard to do the good work of the foundation. We have 5 different programs that they are invested in, really to support MISD teachers and our students here in Midland.
And how long has the Education Foundation been a thing?
So it started back in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
A lot of public school districts created education foundations. That's when Robin Hood, we call it recapture now, started. And a lot of districts were sending their funds to Austin to be repurposed to poorer districts that didn't have that. And they saw the opportunity to create an education foundation where local funds could be housed to benefit the local school district. So back in the 80s, it started in-house with employees at MISD. And then in 2007 is when it became its own 501c3 nonprofit, and they hired a director at that time who stewarded and ran the foundation until I was hired 5 years ago in 2019, and I have been the director ever since then. Prior to that, I was fortunate enough to be a board member of the Education Foundation.
So you knew what you were getting into.
I knew what I was getting into, and that is the best way to ever become an ED is having served on the board, because I was familiar with the programs, with the teachers. I have had 3 kids who have now all graduated from MISD schools, but they went through, the whole gamut of schools that you start with in kindergarten. So I just knew a lot of the players, the principals, the teachers, and it was a really easy board service position for me to have. And then when the director announced her retirement, I thought, well, I could do that. And I'm so fortunate to be given the chance, and I have loved this job.
What have those last 5 years been like for you?
It has been busy. So that was 2019 is when I started, and we had almost a year under our belt before the wheels fell off the bus with COVID.
And so you got a little bit of runway before that.
Right. So at least I kind of knew what we were doing, but life still went on. Education still went on, even during COVID. Teachers still had needs. Students still needed scholarships.
And probably more so than before.
Absolutely. So our events, we did the whole drive-through event like everybody did with some of our stuff. But we just buckled down and got the work done. We still awarded grants. We still awarded scholarships. And we still met the needs of the district. Since then, the wheels went back on the bus. And
there's a driver now.
There's a driver now, and that COVID's in our rearview mirror, fortunately. And the foundation, I am just thrilled to say that we have grown. Our budget has doubled, and the amount of grants that we give out to teachers over the past few years. We've added 2 new programs. We've brought on a 3rd staff member. We all do all this work with 3 employees.
That's amazing.
We have Partners in Education now. That was a program of the Chamber, but has come over to the Education Foundation to connect the community, different businesses in Midland that want to support MISD teachers and students. So we have just grown. It's been a fabulous process to see that happen. Our board of directors, a lot of them stay on for a long time, and I think it's because they're invested in this work. And when they have children, they're like me. They're going through that process and seeing their schools and the impact that the foundation can have for them, and they want to stay involved.
Yes, and we've talked about, or you've mentioned the programs, but
Yeah.
let's dive into those programs. What are the programs that the Midland Education Foundation offers?
So we have 5 programs is what we've grown through now. 2 of them are direct teacher support grant programs. Grants for Great Ideas is our signature grant program. It is a large program, anywhere from $1,000 up to a few $1,000s that a
Wow.
classroom teacher could apply for. And we are looking for innovative ideas, anywhere in the categories of STEM, fine arts, literacy, or student development and innovation. And so a teacher can apply for these funds, and if it's awarded, all of our grants are awarded by the grants committee of the members of our board of directors. But a teacher can apply for these funds and receive supplies and equipment or experiences, things that bring to life education in the classroom. Because the textbook teaches this.
Yes.
And some students learn really well with this kind of instruction, but a lot of students learn better with a different way to present that material. And that's what a Grant for Great Idea will do. Will give the teacher the resources for things that are outside of the campus budget to do those kind of things. An example,
I was going to say,
Yes.
you have to have a favorite, but also I want to know, after you tell us your favorite, what has it been like just in the past 5 years of seeing how those ideas have evolved?
They've evolved, I think, because teachers have gotten sharper with their request, maybe. Like, they're diving in a little bit more. And it does take a seasoned teacher. A Grant for Great Idea is not a teacher for a first-year teacher. That's the second one I'm going to tell you about.
Okay.
But it's a teacher that you have to think about your process and kind of set it up for success and be prepared to write the application and receive the funding and then to implement it. So this is not a quick fix. This is something that we want to invest in.
They've thought about it.
They've thought about it. So my favorite one, and sadly they don't do it anymore, and you're going to understand why in just a second, is the sophomore history teachers at the 2 high schools used to get together. I'm going to start crying because this grant is so great. And when they taught World War II history, they would bring a survivor from the Holocaust Museum out of Dallas.
That gives me immediate chills.
I know. And I distinctly remember being in the auditorium at Legacy High School.
Oh my gosh.
And Maria was sitting on the stage, and she pulls up her sleeve and she shows her tattoo and she tells her story as being a Holocaust survivor. You've never heard an auditorium full of sophomores be as quiet as it was.
Yes.
They were crying, we were crying. It was just so impactful. Sadly, that COVID thing happened, and those survivors, they don't travel, the ones that are surviving, they've just aged. And so that's why they don't do that grant anymore.
Oh, but how powerful.
How powerful to study World War II and then to have that experience. They'll carry that with them forever. I hope they do.
Yes.
That's my favorite Grant for Great
That's
Idea.
a hard one to beat.
Right, it's a hard one to beat.
Wow.
So we also recognize that teachers, sometimes they're not thinking that long term. Sometimes you're teaching now and you need to have impact right now. So we created microgrants for this very need, and it really is for anyone on a campus who's impacting education. Most of them are classroom teachers. It could be a librarian, it could be a coach, it could be the counselor. There are lots of people who impact education on a daily basis, every day at a campus. So a micro grant is up to $1,000, and a teacher can apply for that on a monthly basis. They can apply each semester.
Okay.
So we tried to have fun with this, and it's kind of like Shark Tank, where a teacher it's an easy online application. You have to come up with a budget of what you want to purchase. You can't just ask for $1,000. There has to be a reason and the supplies of what you need. If they move on to the next level, we invite them down, and the Sharks are members of our grants committee, but we also invite a donor representative to come and be a part of that committee.
That is so fun.
And they love it. And I think they love it. They tell me they do. Because it's such a great way to see your gift in action. A lot of times, companies or foundations, they all sit around a boardroom and vote. They'll vote, to award this money. But to come and look the teacher in the eye and be able to see and hear the passion that this teacher was brave enough to come in here and ask adults. They can teach all day long in front of students, but when they come down and ask adults, they're always so nervous. But for the donor to be able to have that interaction, it's just great. And we award them there on the spot. We take their picture, and then the very next day, they have access to the funds that they need for their classroom supplies. And it's all kinds of things. It's the supplies that we don't want the teachers buying out of their pocket. It could be, things for fine arts, musical instruments, tuners. Here's a great one that we just had last month. You might have heard that MISD now has a cell phone ban policy.
I didn't.
Which is great.
How exciting.
Students are not allowed to have their cell phones anymore during class on campus. Right, for all the obvious reasons.
Yes.
So many we don't have to go into. But all the yearbook classes now can't take pictures for their yearbooks because they got rid of all the cameras a long time ago when everybody was carrying a phone in their pocket. So just last month, we awarded 2 different campuses.
Wow, they didn't even think of that.
Right? Unintended consequences. We awarded them grants for, digital cameras, which I guess is a skill for these students to learn because they've only taken pictures on their iPhone camera.
That's what, and even people in my generation are bringing the digital cameras we had back and using them day to day. And it's like so nostalgic because you're like, wow, it's just the photos are so much more fun.
Same kind of thing. And in the music classes, they could use their phones as a metronome or a tuner. When all the trumpets are tuning up for band practice, and now they can't. So they need like the real tuners. So it's things like that that saves that band director a lot of time having to go through and tune every instrument. So it's grants like that are for micro grants where it's an immediate need where that teacher can put it to use and it's going to help them be the amazing educator to teach those students. So those are just the first 2 programs. Let me keep going.
With just 2.
So then we have Grants for Great Minds, which is a higher education scholarship for any full-time MISD employee that's seeking higher education or their teaching certification. We have some school secretaries that maybe are working on their bachelor's, but they want to become a teacher, and so we have a grant for that. We have classroom teachers who are working on their master's or their doctorate, because it is great to have a math teacher in front of you, but to have a math teacher with their doctorate is a whole different level of instruction. So a teacher can apply up to $500 per semester, so fall, summer, and spring. They could get up to $1,500 for a higher education scholarship through Grants for Great Minds.
Can they reapply every time?
Absolutely, yeah, you can until you graduate. Yes. So we are thrilled to award all of our employees who apply for that scholarship, just to help our workforce be as educated and prepared to deliver high quality instruction to the 29,000 students at MISD.
Yes, no small feat.
No small feat at all. And then we also have Shining Stars, which is student focused, and it is an academic scholarship that's awarded to the Shining Stars of MISD. It's the top 10 graduates from Midland High School, the top 10 graduates from Legacy High School, the valedictorian from Early College High School, the top student from Coleman High School, and I'm so happy to say that this is the first year we'll have the valedictorian from YWLA.
Yay!
They're about to graduate their first class of young women.
That. We're so excited.
So that'll be 23 Shining Star students that are named at the end of the year once their class rank is announced. They receive a scholarship directly to their university. It's anywhere between $2,000 to $5,000.
Oh my goodness.
Depending on what your rank and how you come in. But the best part about that program is not only does the student get the scholarship, they also get the opportunity to name an honor teacher. I'm going to cry again, Erin. This is that teacher. Everybody in their life can look back and point to that one teacher that they remember that made a difference, that brought education to life, that they say it was a turning point for them. That's the teacher that we want them to name as their honor teacher.
And can it be anyone from elementary, junior high, or high school?
It's my favorite when they go back to elementary. When they bring up the third grade teacher.
My second grader is the first one that pops into mind.
Yes. So we invite that teacher to come to graduation, and they walk the stage with those. I know, isn't it great? They walk the stage with those Shining Stars, the top 10, because they graduate first from the whole class of 700. They walk the stage. They call a valedictorian's name. They call the honor teacher's name, where they teach and what subject. But then in the program, there's a lot of people that sit in the auditorium or the stadium for graduation, and it's a long ceremony, and you might want something to read.
Yes.
And so on the back of the program, we've asked those students for a few sentences about why they chose that teacher. And we print that in the back of the program. And it is just a way to shed light on the noble profession of educators.
Yes.
And for everybody else in that room to see the power that a teacher can have in your life. And so we're just here to invest in that. They get a small honorarium from the foundation where they can go out and celebrate with their family. But that's just another one of my favorite programs.
I didn't know about that one.
It's a great one. Love it. Love it. We also have Partners in Education, which is our newest program. And it is fantastic because it is a way for the community to connect directly to MIC campuses. Our goal is to have every one of our 39 MIC campuses adopted by a community partner. That might be Diamondback, that might be a mid-level service company, that might be a faith partner, it could be a family. We're looking for a financial commitment to invest in this school, and it's really to help address culture at a campus. Because probably working for Diamondback, I'm just going to guess here, y'all probably have some great incentives, or maybe there's a Christmas party, or maybe they give you a shirt that has Diamondback on it, something like that. MISD schools are funded with taxpayer money, and everything is really restricted, and they're in specific buckets, and there are things that schools cannot purchase with their school district budget. A principal is often buying these things out of her pocket. If she wants to have the breakfast burritos for her staff to say thank you at Christmas, she's probably buying those breakfast burritos out of her own pocket. She wants to give them all a $5 gift certificate or a gift card to Starbucks. She's buying that out of her own pocket. And it's this this Partner in Education grant. It's just a way that we want to empower a principal to invest in her staff retention, because we know, it is a lot easier to keep the employees that you have than it is to start with a whole new fresh one.
100%.
And we want our teachers to love where they work and not look across town and go, well, I want to work there, and then transfer, because you're just starting all over. So these PI grants are just a way to increase that campus culture, that morale, staff retention, staff appreciation, student incentives. There are all kinds of student behavior incentives that campuses do. Our grant programs, incentives are not part of that because it's tied to more of an education piece. So this is a way where when you see little Erin making good choices and, being kind to a student, a lot of times there's come to the office and you can, receive a book or be entered into, it's the attendance drawing. Come to school every day and you get your name entered into the prize to win the bike at the end of the year. Or, it was the bike 20 years ago. Now, honestly, it's the Beats headphones or it's the Nintendo Switch. Things have changed. But there's still those components that a school just can't pay for. And a lot of private industry, they may not realize that because it could be taken for granted at in private industry that they can't pay for those things. So we have Partners in Education through that. It's created an opportunity to have sponsorships for the district. A lot of times, the district also needs to have lunches for trainings for their teachers. And if a company wants to sponsor that, we are more than happy to give you some logo recognition with that. And it's a way to invest in all of educators across Midland, not just to a campus. So we've tried to make a pathway for any kind of donation that could come in to support a student, a teacher, a campus, a department, whether it's for something broad, like a culture impact, something specific, like a designated gift for Midland High Robotics, something that Diamondback has done.
Yeah, we'll touch on that.
Or maybe for a Midland ISD playground. We're trying to replace all the elementary playgrounds across town that have aged out and are basically out of warranty, and we need new ones. But a new playground is almost $200,000 to put into a school, and that's hard when the school district is having to run with a $42 million deficit budget. Education needs will always trump things like that.
Yes.
Absolutely, it's important for students to go outside and play. What are you going to pick when it comes to a budget?
Yeah.
So we are so happy to take donations for things like that we can pour into and assist with the school district for the efforts that they're doing. So at the Education Foundation, we stay so busy with those 5 programs of the foundation.
You would think with that amount of what you told us, you'd think it's about 20 programs. You
Well,
are very busy.
because each program, there are,
They all have some legs.
some legs. There's just shy of 2,000 teachers at MISD that we're supporting. Like I mentioned, 29,000 students, 29 campuses. It's just a big machine with lots of needs. And I'm so glad that way back in the 80s, somebody created the Midland Education Foundation, and we can do our work today.
Yes. And Diamondback is so proud to be a partner with the Education Foundation. And for 2024 alone, Diamondback has donated almost $800,000 to education in Midland, which we are so proud to say because it is one of our top pillars of giving. But with that, $190,000 has gone straight to the Education Foundation. And some of it covers programs like you mentioned. But what is it like from your side to have those corporate partners throughout the community that are so involved in giving back and being really hands-on with those programs?
There is so much I can say to this topic, but first, let me just say thank you. What an amazing gift for Diamondback. What a leader for our community to see y'all forging that path and leading the way of supporting education. Because these students, they're MISD students today, but they're your employees tomorrow.
Yes.
They're the people that we're all interacting with and working with, living with in Midland. So thank you so much for that investment. Some of that donation absolutely goes to support those 5 programs that I just mentioned. A whole nother thing that the Education Foundation does is we help receive those kind of designated gifts. I mentioned the Midland High robotics programs. So a lot of times a company wants to invest in a specific program just like that. Or the VR learning program that y'all have at Legacy High School with that. Something that is specific to a campus. We can absolutely help with the donation for that and be able to help make that process, because any kind of donation that comes to the foundation is a charitable gift to a company. And so we have a lot of designated programs like that. There's over 90 that are on our books for things that the funds are restricted to specific programs, and we stay busy stewarding those. So we're just so grateful to the community, Diamondback being the leader of that. But there's so many of our other energy companies that are also pouring into education. Our faith partners are pouring into that. Just people in Midland are truly invested in education, and it is a fantastic thing to see.
And then we need to talk, this isn't even one of the programs, it's just one of the events that Midland Education Foundation puts on, and that is Teacher Winter Wishes, which will be the 3rd year and of the event, but also the 3rd year Diamondback has supported it. And I want to dive into what this event is, why it was started, and for the teachers that haven't been, what they can expect. So talk to us about how this idea came about. And then what was the first year like? Because we did see year 1 to 2, we really streamlined the process. But let's talk about the beginning and then where we've gone from there.
Can you see? I'm just so excited.
I know. It's one of the best events.
You know, I can cry talking about our grants, but this one just brings me joy because it's my favorite event that the Education Foundation helps put on. And truly, we help because it's a community event that we put on. This is not a fundraiser for the Education Foundation. This is truly an event. This is a fundraiser for teachers.
Yes.
Where 100% of every dollar given goes back 100% to the teachers in Midland to come and participate in Teacher Winter Wishes. The official name is actually Teacher Winter Wishes Spectacular because we could not think of a word in the English language that captured come to a store and get stuff for free and you don't have to pay.
Yes.
And that's what it is. So Teacher Winter Wishes is where we have collected donations from, we have 11 sponsors this year that have come together. Yay. Diamondback being one of the top premier presenting sponsors for that. And we basically have purchased the supplies that teachers need. And we offer it to them at an event where they can come through and get it for free with some other great things that happen. But the way that it started was back in 2022. This was in October, and MISD had an acting superintendent, Kelly Spencer. Our former superintendent had left the district. Kelly Spencer had stepped in. She had a meeting with some of the pastors here in Midland and some industry representatives. And the topic came up about all the social media posts where teachers were saying, I had to buy Kleenexes and pencils because my kids didn't bring supplies.
Another thing that comes out of their own pocket if they do have to buy it.
Out of their own pocket, right? Because not every parent sends school supplies with their students. And a teacher wants every student to have the pencils, or there's the stuff that she needs, like paper and pens and pencils, and having a box of Kleenex is a great thing to have. So this group was talking about, why is everybody always posting that? And surely in Midland, Texas, we can do better. What can we do where we'll give you some money? How can we make this happen? So Kelly Spencer came down and she said, what can you do with this? So I listened to her and I gave it some thought. And I did what most people do. You call that trusted friend who you like throw an idea at, and you say, am I crazy for doing this? My trusted friend was Allison King at the Warren Charitable Foundation. Phenomenal. And I was like, Allison, will people get to this? Because that's what she does. She, funnels requests all the time. And she said, if you build it, they will come.
Yes.
The second phone call I made was to Ashley Colquitt at Diamondback Energy. And I said, Ashley, here's what I want to do. Here are the broad strokes. Do you think we can pull this off? And she said, when's the first meeting? So then I called some of those faith partners, the people that were in that room, and they all sent a representative. We got about 8 people around the table, and we kind of sketched out what this could look like. At the time, YWLA had just left their portable buildings that had moved into the former Washington Elementary campus. And so MISD had a lot of portables that were still on that campus. And I thought, well, this is great. We're going to go over there and have it in their double-wide portable that was the library. And I thought, this will be great. So I took 2 of the people from this newly formed committee. It was Allison Ashmore from First Baptist Church. And I think Ashley went with us also. And we looked at that event, and they both said, this is not big enough. Our event's this is going to be bigger. And so we got the Bush Center ballroom, and we built this event. And we had over 1,000 teachers, 1,100 teachers come that first year at the Bush Center ballroom. And we did it for 2 days, and we had a time frame where they could come, and everybody gets a reusable HEB shopping bag, and they go through about 10 different tables where you get to pick up the flare pens, the ink pens, the pencils, the composition notebook, the anchor charge, which if nobody knows are those big, giant Post-it, pads that stick on the wall. We gave snacks because a lot of times kids are hungry in school, and a teacher is buying granola bars to have in her classroom or at her desk to give that hungry kid. So we gave them snacks. We gave them those Kleenexes. We purchased as many things that we could think about. I think we're Office Depot's favorite customer for the fourth
like, you
quarter.
Guys coming back in December?
That's right. But they were so great to work with because stuff from all over the United States of America comes to Midland, Texas in December for the quantities of things that we buy. That first year, I had the state guy from Office Depot call me and say, what are y'all doing out there in Midland?
He's like, this is not right.
Right. And so they store it for us, and they bring it over. But we wanted to make this event even more special for a teacher, not just to come get those supplies. So we added games and more prizes that they could win. So we have a center stage where a teacher can come in, and we play fun Christmas trivia games, but you win gift cards, and maybe it's a $50 gift card to Target or to Barnes & Noble, and something to bless a teacher. We also, the big prize during playing those games is the electric pencil sharpener.
Oh my gosh.
Because...
And from the outside, like when you're not a teacher, you think, okay, it's an electric pencil sharpener. Well, my teacher teaches second grade. My sister teaches second grade. And the amount that they go through with the younger kids trying to use an electric pencil sharpener. Yes. But it is a hot commodity.
It is a hot commodity, and we buy the industrial good ones. Yes. And so right now, all of our supplies are coming in, and my office is stacked with electric pencil sharpeners that we'll give away as prizes. Also, math games like manipulatives. And we had a kit together we put together that was sensory items.
I was going to say, I think that was my favorite addition last year, were the sensory kits.
Yes, and so a teacher could win this, tote, for lack of a better word, and had about 4 or 5 different calm down sensory things where, little Erin, keep using you as my example, could sit in the corner when she just needed a minute and have, some fidget or some things to, touch to help calm down, because that's the world we live in, and we have so many needs of so many students to address. So once you get past, back to Winter Wishes, the stage where you play a game and you can win fun prizes, and it's just an interactive way just to make it fun. But over here on this side of the room are amazing big prizes that we call them for teachers to win. And it's those things that if a teacher won, we want them to just feel appreciated and seen and loved by their community. And it's the nice office desk chair,
Yes.
not the, solid oak one that has been there since 1952. Or maybe a Keurig coffee maker, because her classroom is in this point of the building and the teacher's lounge is in this point of the building. And with a 4-minute passing period, she can't even go get a cup of coffee. Or maybe it's those sensory items.
Or a printer.
Or a printer, because you and I probably have a printer next to our desk.
Yes.
Again, if you're that teacher and you need to print something and the copy room is way over there, it's just hard to get your work done well when you don't have some of those resources. And a classroom printer is not part of a teacher kit that you get for your room. We also give out, the big rug that all the students can sit on. And these are all prizes that teachers, basically, you put your name in the hat so many times you have a ticket, and then they're pulled to win. Big ticket items that we have that teachers want this year are personal laminators.
Ooh, I was going to say, that's another hot commodity.
Yes, and so we have lots of sets of those, the laminator and, the 100-pack of sheets to go through the laminators. Also, classroom sets of headphones, because all of
nice.
our students are one-to-one devices, and sometimes you might need this side of the classroom to be doing something with the headphone on that you can't hear. Well, headphones aren't issued with their Chromebooks. Some students have them, the earbuds, some don't. So having that classroom set of headphones is a big ticket. This year, we're also going to have some standing rolling desks for teachers, because
I love that.
a teacher doesn't sit in her classroom desk chair
Hardly ever,
and teach this way, right? But they're standing up and they're moving in the classroom. Education has become so much more interactive than a lecture in front of a classroom. And so lots of prizes. There's about 20 different ones. The teachers can come down and pick what they want to register for, because if you already have a Keurig maker, you don't need to register for that one. So it is just a great way for teachers to feel blessed. And then the next day, when it's all over, we have some of our sponsor representatives. The executive committee from the Chamber of Commerce helps us. And all of these prizes that they won are wrapped like Christmas presents. And we put a big tag on it that says, "To Mrs. Bailey at Fannin Elementary." And somebody walks in and gives that to you. And the best part is all the kids cheer for you, because Mrs. Bailey, their teacher, just won something. And our hope is for that donor to really see that impact and to look into a teacher's eye and say, "Thank you. Thank you for teaching Midland students, and here you go. I hope this blesses you and makes you a better teacher." It's just a great event all the way around. It is great for the teachers that come and can get that blessing. It is great for the volunteers that come and serve, because it's up close, it's personal, it's serving teachers. My favorite thing is when teachers come through the line and some of our volunteers were their students. Oh. And they're like, "Mrs. Smith." And, students age. And sometimes Mrs. Smith can't remember who the student is, their name. But, Midland's a small enough town where those kind of things happen. And it's a community event for our community to come behind and rally behind teachers, just to feel supported. It happens at Christmas. It's on December 2nd.
I was going to say, when is it this year?
It's December 2nd and 3rd. That's intentional. Well, I guess it's intentional. It happened when Kelly Spencer came down in October that first year and said, "Can you build this?" And I was like, well, let's do it at Christmas, because it's like giving out Christmas presents. And
it's really a reset for them after the first semester.
Yes.
Their supplies have run low,
Yes.
or they don't have any left, and now they get to rebuild and get ready for that new year.
And you're also tired. You've just come off of a long run. You had a break at Thanksgiving. You're looking forward to that Christmas break, and then you have the spring semester. So it comes at a great time for that midpoint of the year for teachers. So this year, it's December 2nd and 3rd. We'll have it at the Bush Convention Center again. It's from 4 to 6 each day. What I need teachers to know is they are welcome to come, but they do need to register. Because
and it's teachers in Midland and Odessa, or just Midland?
It's teachers in Midland.
Yes.
So we're not checking anybody's ID at the door. 98% of the teachers that come are MISD teachers, because, like I said, there's just shy of of 2,000 teachers that work for MISD. Last year, we had 1,300 teachers attend. And so each year, more and more are coming, but I think we're going to be right there around 1,400, 1,500 teachers that will come down. So we need teachers to register for the sense of pick a day. And you can come anytime you want between 4 and 6. We're not going to run out of supplies. We divide it all in half, and then half again, and we put it out for the first hour and the second hour. So there's no fear of thinking you have to come the first day, but we do need you to register so we know when you're coming. My advice would be to carpool. Come with your friends because it's so much more fun. We play Christmas music.
We have hot chocolate and
snacks. We give out cocoa and cookies. We have some of our student musicians who are down there entertaining you. We have students that will help you carry your stuff if you win a prize. The football players always come and do that. Spirits are high and people are just happy, and you might have to wait in line just for a minute, and that's only because the line inside the Bush Center is moving. But come with a friend. You can stand there and chat for a minute and eat your cookie. I promise it doesn't take long.
We had the rolling baristas serving the hot chocolate and the cookies.
Yes, we did.
So another Diamondback program in education that we are so proud of. But we hope that they'll be back this year. They make it even a little. They just elevate it just a little bit when they hand those out.
Absolutely. And then they're clapping for the teachers when they go in.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I forgot about that. It was almost like a sports team where they were like going through the tunnel.
Yes. So we want teachers to feel that. That the community sees them and they're just thanking them for the job that they do because, here in Midland, we do a lot of drilling and we talk about the resources in the ground. But our children, the greatest resource that we have. And MISD is proud to get to educate 29,000 of them. Again, they're going to be the people we're working with, the people we're living with, the people that are helping us in Midland. So.
Yes. And where can teachers in Midland go to register for that event?
Yes. So if you're an MISD teacher, look in the newsletter. Also refer back to the Midland Education Foundation webpage. We'll have it there. We'll have some posts going out on social media. I think you'll be able to find it pretty easily. We also need volunteers. It takes about 150 people to put this on. Most of our sponsors will fill those volunteer spots. Again, I love that because it's a chance for them to come and to connect and see how their company is supporting teachers because their students are going to these schools. It's a trickle-down effect.
And for me personally, it's one of our most fun volunteer events because one, who isn't excited when you get free things, but the teachers are so excited to be there that the atmosphere in itself is just such a fun place to be.
And I love it that a lot of our donors have become a little competitive about that. So we welcome them to wear your Diamondback, gear because Chevron's going to have on their gear too. And we want it to be a fun event for all volunteers to be able to participate with that. So we are just so grateful to Diamondback being our big presenting sponsor, First Baptist Church, Chevron, XTO, ConocoPhillips, Stonegate, HEB, Atmos, Henry Petroleum, Abel Hanger Foundation. We're just so grateful to all the sponsors that are truly pouring in and investing in our teachers to make this happen. And again, it is 100% going back to this program. Teacher Winter Wish is spectacular.
And if you've ever questioned that, that's the place to volunteer because you see it firsthand.
Yes, you feel so good. So volunteers, that link is also on the Midland Education Foundation website. It's under the community tab on MISD's webpage. You just have to navigate to it and you'll find it for Winter Wishes. And if you want to be blessed and your heart to be warmed and to know that you've done something great, come on down. We need smiling faces to help pass out the stuff. We also need strong backs to help move the boxes.
It's a lot of heavy lifting.
Right.
You don't realize how heavy paper is until there's like
a
12
box
different.
Of it. Yes. So we have a role for anyone, no matter your physical levels of what you can do. We can put you to work.
And we've discussed a lot.
Yes.
But I think we hit everything. Is there anything else you'd like people to know about what the Midland Education Foundation does?
We are just here to support teachers, and we can't do it alone. Some of the sponsors that I mentioned, there are countless others in this town that are investing in education. We have a pathway for anyone else who maybe hasn't gotten involved with the Education Foundation. We try to make it easy with charitable giving and can help direct your donation or invest in the programs that we have that are tried and true, that are getting funds to teachers directly in their classroom. We welcome any kind of support, but more than that, we're just grateful for Midland and the community for standing up, standing beside, MISD and the work that they're doing to educate all these kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're so happy to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you to Diamondback. Truly, the trailblazers in the industry, all the things that y'all are doing. Even just this podcast, the awareness that you've given us now at the Education Foundation to tell our story and what we do. Thank you for that.
Thank
truly.
you so much.
Yes.
And Anita, you made it a great last episode of the season.
What an honor to round it out. Thank you so much for having me. It was amazing.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Everyone, that does it for this season of Fueling Tomorrow. On behalf of Anita and myself, I'm Erin Bailey, and we'll chat with you in the new year.